In the next 60 minutes here on Newsnight, if you operate a dollar account, the Bank of Ghana has served notice. You can no longer withdraw your own dollars over the counter.
You cannot use our banking system to trade speculation. So if you put your dollars there, we'll trap the dollars. Go and put your money in your bank account and go and get it, whether you get a dollar in Ghana here. Whatever. You can sweat blood. You can sweat blood and get the dollars.
To withdraw my dollars. You say they'll give me
You withdraw the dollars to buy fufu in Ghana. You cannot.
I can't withdraw my own dollars from the counter.
No. You will be giving cedis because your legal tender is cedis.
Also tonight, Auditor-General Johnson Selma reveals recovering a staggering 12.7 billion cedis out of 38.9 billion cedis disallowed over a period of 4 years. We bring you details as his office says it has saved Ghana 86 million cedis from payroll fraud. Also tonight, government explores private sector involvement in railway operations as Ghana railway workers sit down strike of unpaid salaries and poor conditions of service enters day 2.
Step number 2. We are equally going to conduct market sounding for private sector participation on the continuation of the Western Railway line from Hini Valley through to Junkwa to Buankra on the right leg, and from
details as workers blame the Ghana Railway Company for the delay in the Tema-Mpakadan train service, citing the company's inability to fuel the train despite completion of repairs on the crashed polished locomotive.
I repair 4 months more.
Almost 4 months.
Sure.
That's is one. Can't fool one some multiminto for. And phone is so multiminto for workers in intiminto and
as an intimate talk. Company in company in this car because new CEO I didn't boss is getting hot.
In business, prices of petroleum products are expected to continue declining at the pumps as long as the Ghana city continues with its good run.
And in sports, Ghana is set to host some 16 countries for the maiden edition of the WAFU A and B Under-20 Cup in June at the Ghana Man Soccer Center of Excellence.
And then later, consumers push back against traders who say Ghanaians can only benefit from the city's recent improved performance when new imports hit the markets in 2 months.
We are begging Guta to quickly come in before 2 months so that we will have our peace of mind.
Send me a WhatsApp tonight, 05511119997. Details after this. You're live here on Newsnight. It's on Joy 99.7 FM. Tonight, if you operate a dollar account, the Bank of Ghana has a notice for you. You can no longer withdraw your own dollars over the counter. Board member of the Central Bank and chair of Parliament's Finance Committee, Isaac Adongo, says banks who violate this particular notice will be sanctioned. Listen.
You can no longer speculate with a bank account in dollars. Because when you put the money in dollars into a bank account, we'll give you the dollars only when you need it for a dollar-denominated transaction outside of our country. Because dollars must be spent outside, not inside. But if you need the dollar to go and spend on, say, CD-denominated transaction, we'll give you the CDs.
But this is theory.
That is what's happening. The reality is that
which economy?
Go and put your money in your bank account and go and get it, whether you get a dollar in Ghana here.
I go to the bank all the time to take
my dollars. And you take dollars?
Then nobody asks me
dollars. When was the last time you did that?
Unless
it's illegal.
No,
you can't be giving dollars on the counter.
No. Unless I am going with CDs in the hopes that I'll get dollars from the bank. I'm buying the dollars from the bank.
You won't be so.
That they require.
You won't
that I have a visa. I have a flight ticket.
Yeah, that's when you are traveling.
Yes.
You see, because you are going to spend the money outside.
But I want to have a dollar account at the bank.
Yes.
And I go to withdraw my dollars. Nobody's going to ask me when I'm going to use it.
I'm telling you, go and draw it tomorrow.
That is sure.
Now, it's a fact.
No, nobody. You don't have a dollar account. You do.
I'm saying that you can't take dollar over the counter. As we speak today.
When I have a dollar account?
Yes, but you can't take it.
Why can't
you will be
take
giving
it?
CD equivalent.
That doesn't happen anywhere.
Well, it's happening today in Ghana now, so maybe pay attention. That is what you want to
withdraw my dollars.
To do. Which bank? Which bank gave you that?
All the banks do that.
No, which bank did you do that?
But why?
I am saying I will prompt the regulator that bank is violating very simple rules.
Let's go to the very principle of what you're saying.
Yes.
You're saying that I work in Ghana and I earn dollars.
Yes.
I go to the bank because you say don't keep my dollars in my room. So I go to the bank because you are creating a banking system.
Yes.
Go to the bank, deposit my hard-earned dollars.
Whatever. You can sweat blood.
and I
You can
and
sell
I go
blood
to
and
my
get the
bank to
dollars.
withdraw my dollars. You say they'll give
You
you
will
cedis.
withdraw the dollars to buy fufu in Ghana. We won't allow that.
No,
we will give you
but
cedis.
why do you care what I'm going to use my
We
dollar
care
for?
because the laws of Ghana do not allow businessmen to receive and make payments in dollars.
Why? If I'm
because
paid
it's
in
illegal.
dollars.
Your legal tender
So
is the cedi, and that is what created the problem.
Principle. If I work
Which
in
is
Ghana
not
and I
about
earn
principle;
dollars,
it's about law.
what the law
It's about
says,
law. The law says you cannot.
I can't withdraw my own dollars from the counter.
No, you will be giving cedis because your legal tender is cedis, and you are going to spend the money in Ghana. You must be giving cedis. In fact, there's a Bank of Ghana notice that prohibits somebody withdrawing dollars over the counter.
When it is your own bank account.
Yes, in fact, you can actually swear blood. So it's because of this type of arguments that you were paying 17, 18 cedis for the dollar.
Mr. Adongo, what you're actually saying is
Yes.
that I should never bother putting in the dollars in
Well,
the
we
bank
don't
account
care
in
how
Ghana.
you interpret it, but
that's what it is. This is a rational.
Yes, and I'm
economic
saying
being
that, and I'm
talking
saying
to
that
you. The next time I earn my dollars legitimately,
the Ghanaians are
I'm not
seeing-
going to them. I'll take the
Ghanaians-
ground in my house and put it there.
How many can you put in your house? You run the risk of people stealing your money, okay? And when people steal your money, you realize that it was much safer to put the dollar in a bank and take a cedi for it.
Why?
How much can you keep under your pillow?
This city that somersaults so
It is
frequently
the
over a short
reason,
period of
and
time.
now that is the
Why
reason.
would I take my dollars into a
And
bank and go and take the city? Who does that?
Because we want the dollar to be as stable as possible. It is an existing Bank of Ghana regulation. You are telling me that you and your banks, whichever, I want you to mention that bank that violated simple notice. Don't give people dollars over the counter. Do you have an example of that bank? Can you give me?
Do you have a forex account? In this
Myself?
bank? Yes.
I don't need a forex.
So why do the banks issue us dollar checks?
They do?
Mr. Long, what are you talking about?
I don't know what
are
you're
you
saying.
in this economy?
No, I'm saying that today. Take it from me.
Why do the banks issue us dollar checks?
Because I don't know about that, but I'm saying
pound checks.
And they take.
And you can go to the counter and sign on the dotted line your check.
When was the last time
and withdraw?
When was the last time you did that?
I
don't care about those checks. I'm saying that the effect is that you can't go and withdraw dollars over the counter.
I mean, that's what I want to clarify. Is it something you want to now enforce?
It is something in force. Those who were buying dollars and stocking them in our bank accounts and looking for arbitrage opportunities today cannot do that. Because when you take your dollar to the bank account, it is not a safe investment for you. So you put it there. Well, you need cedis to spend in Ghana, we'll give you cedis. You need dollars to spend outside of Ghana, we'll give you dollars. But you cannot have dollars at the bank to spend in Ghana.
Remember in 2013?
Yes.
When the dollar depreciated very sharply,
yes.
The BOG governor at the time did a fascinating press conference where he announced, I remember this policy, that what you announced, insisting that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
That you in fact, he said,
Dr. Wampa.
Yeah. And he said there's a limit you can withdraw from your own
at the time
forex account.
So we are a learning government.
No, but you say
we are a learning government. Today you can't do that.
No, but Mr. Dongo,
today there's no limit.
Let's stay there.
Yeah.
So the BOG governor, Mr. Wampa, in your previous administration, didn't say that you cannot withdraw, even then when we had a crisis of depreciation.
Yes.
He said there's a limit.
Yes.
The law hasn't changed, has it? Have you amended that law?
I am saying that there's a notice to that effect that the banks know.
That what? You can't
that you cannot give dollars to people over the counter.
But that contradicts that position.
We are not in Iwampa's era. We are in Dr. Siama's era.
So you say that not even limit zero.
So
you can't take Dr.
Aqua was allowing you to take any amount of dollars.
No, he placed a limit on what you can withdraw.
That is Wampa.
And that wasn't sustainable.
I'm saying that is Wampa. That said there was a limit.
But it didn't even work with the limit. You remember?
But today is working.
There was a backlash.
But today is working.
Eventually, they had to roll back that policy.
I am saying today it's working.
So if the limit didn't work, why do you think a zero withdrawal of your own dollars will work?
Because it's working.
Dr. Daniel Sedo is a banking consultant. Daniel Enim is a financial analyst, and Dr. Tia Kabiru is a member of the finance committee. Adongo, you just heard there, is a board member at the central bank, the BOG. Dr. Sedo, your reaction to what you just heard? Hello, Dr. Sedo, can you hear me? Okay, I don't seem to have Dr. Sedo on. He will join us on Zoom. Let me bring in Daniel Enim, who's joining. Can you hear me? I can hear you now, yes. So your reaction to what you just heard from the board member of the BOG, there notice to banks that if you have a dollar account or a forex account in any of the banks, you can no longer withdraw over the counter. You go there, you'll be giving CDs.
Well, I would say it's just unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. First, we allow people to take their monies into the bank. The bank receive those monies. It's the right thing to do. When they need their money, they pick those monies back. Now, the bigger issue is what informs people taking their dollars to the bank. It's because our currency is a weak currency, and human beings are rational people. So when they make money, they make this rational decision. They may take dollar to the bank because they're looking for stability. Probably they want to do international transaction. Also, it could be wealth preservation, or there may be investment opportunity or ease of trade. So people get themselves ready for the future. Now, if you want to solve this problem, what we should do is to make the CD attractive. Now, if the CD is strong, nobody will be interested in saving or keeping money in dollars. We should also understand that when we keep the money in the banks, the dollars, it is not just that the monies are sitting there idle. The banks use these dollars. So it's our own interest to allow people to do that and keep the monies in the bank. Nothing prevents people from keeping money elsewhere. I think the challenge for Bank of Ghana is to even carry out a research to find out how much CD is not even in the banks and find out why people are not taking monies to the bank. We have a banking sector that has suffered from credibility issues because of domestic debt exchange issues and all that, and people have lost money. So if you start this kind of initiative, you disrupt the situation a lot more. That is why I would say it's very unfortunate. On the legal side,
stay with me for a second on the legal side. I want to bring in Daniel Enim also into the conversation. There's a financial analyst. Daniel, the rationale for this notice, the board member explains, we live in an economy where the legal tender is a CD. So if the legal tender is a CD and you put your money in the bank, he says it's trapped. If you go there, you get your CD equivalent of what you're looking for, so you can spend within this economy. But if you want to trade offshore, they would give you the CD, provided you provide the evidence to back that. Doesn't that sound logical, rational, and economically prudent thing to do?
Thank you very much. It appears so, but before you roll out a policy, you need to have a holistic look at the dynamics, what is happening within your economy. Okay, I agree with my other colleague who just made a summation. We have an economy where the value of the local currency is not so attractive to induce people to transact businesses in with the local currency. Hence, people trying to use the dollar, even to the extent that we even have most of the banks, most of the hotels in this country and other institutions price their services and products in a dollar denomination, kind of, So, as much as I agree that, in principle, that's the way to go, you have to look at the practicality of your approach. Now, we are in this country where we are finding it difficult to deal with the black market. So even if you wanted to implement this policy, granted that this is the way to go to solve the issue that is happening. Let's assume that is the way to go. You have a big issue. The big issue is the black market. How do you deal with the black market? Because people will resort to the black market if they will not be able to have access to their dollar with the banks. They will resort to the dollar market. So the policy will be defeated. So it ought to be looked at it holistically for it to be able to work. To my mind, the way forward is that it appears we are so reactive to situation in this part of our world. Okay, some of these decisions should be backed by research and critical analysis. What I would recommend is that government roll it out in phases. So, for instance, it shouldn't be like, a stringent kind of measure where you have your money, your dollar, now you need it to transact business, and then there's a hurdle to cross. So gradually, and then we begin to educate people. We begin also to work on the fundamentals within the macroeconomic environment.
Well, you say it should be rolled out gradually. In fact, he was telling me in this interview that any bank that had issued any of us dollar notes from our own dollar bank account will be sanctioned. In fact, he was pushing me to disclose the identity of a bank, and they would apply the sanctions as a result of that. But Dr. Sedo, you were making the point about the legality of this measure. We have the Foreign Exchange Act that permits individuals and businesses to hold and operate FCAs and withdraw funds from them. But such withdrawals and such transactions must comply with regulations set by the BOG. This is one of those, is it not, that the BOG has issued this notice, furtherance to the regulations that should govern the way you use monies in your dollar account. Legal?
Evans, let me give it a different perspective for you. The timing of this is just bad because this is a time we claim the CD is appreciating. So go on that tangent and gradually people have confidence in the CD and will not store their wealth in dollar. Number two, as a people, there is a certain mindset we need to look at. Now, if the only tool you have is the hammer, you see every problem as the nail. So we think everything, let's force it down the throat of people by law. It doesn't help. My colleagues talk about the black market. It operates. People will find another means to solve this problem or attend to their real need. As leaders, we need to interrogate issues, research them further, and have policies that are effective and that will work the long term. There is no need passing any law. There's no need referring anybody to any law. You made reference to what happened previously, and it never worked. I do not believe this time it will work. The earlier we stop it, the better it will be for all of us. Let's improve the economy. Let's get the CD to be strong, and nobody will be interested in the dollar. So my position, the legal side, I was going to say, let us not focus on legality. You've accepted my dollar. Give it back to me if you don't want to keep it, and tell me I shouldn't bring it again. That ends it.
Thank you very much, Dr. Daniel Sedo. Earlier I had Daniel Inim, he's a financial analyst, and Daniel Sedo is a banking consultant. Dr. Kabiru Mahama is with me on the line. He is Adongo's colleague on the Finance Committee. Dr. Chakabiru, this is a policy, and he was speaking in his capacity as a board member of the BOG. Where do you stand on the notice that he says the BOG has now issued to the banks to implement this? You are pretty sure you have a Forex account. You can no longer withdraw your Forex currency, your foreign currency from that account. If you go, they'll give you CDs. Prudent?
Thank you very much, Evans. The first and foremost, my colleague should have known that consequent to the Foreign Exchange Act, the Bank of Ghana came out with regulations. And the regulations allow that businesses and individuals with accounts, foreign accounts, are allowed to withdraw up to $10,000 now, $10,000, and then you can even withdraw up to $50,000 with subsequent documentation. When I say documentation, it means that you must prove transaction or international payment you want to make. So that is the first.
But the 10,000 you talk about, you need that amount, he says. If you need to prove that you're going to spend it on a foreign transaction.
Currently, the 10,000, you don't need documentation. Otherwise, you go to the Forex Bureau. You can change $10,000 and no one would ask you for anything. So basically, he cannot be telling us that the Forex Bureau around the country are committing illegality. Even though I agree that the Foreign Exchange Act limits and it does not allow, and that is why if you even listen to me, I'm very much particular about the Tema-Mpakadan issue, and I insist that he has committed a crime. That you cannot give dollar or make transaction in dollar to anyone within Ghana without authorization from the Bank of Ghana, because that's what the law says. But you are allowed to go and withdraw dollars and do international transactions as you so wish.
But not to do local
Not to do local. There are few entities that have been authorized by the Bank of Ghana to engage in pricing and collection of sales. So to get dollar and to make payments in dollar, you must be authorized by the Bank of Ghana to do such. That is the law. Now, aside the law, there is this policy reason or rationale why the bank would allow people flexibility to go and withdraw 10,000 or sometimes 50,000 in dollars, because you want to allow, you don't want to cripple small businesses, you don't want to introduce rigidity into business transactions. That the burden of documentation of proven transactions would be a feather on businesses in the country. And it was based on that rationale that the Bank of Ghana, in coming out with the regulation, made that particular flexibility. Now, if Mr. Adongo is telling like that, now they are going to make it strict that anyone going to withdraw money from the account, they will be giving him dollar equivalent of that. You are basically introducing rigidity into the doing of business, and it will not go into your index of business-friendly economy. That is one thing. Again, Mr. Adongo has failed to educate the people of Ghana and to admit him that businesses and individuals are allowed to hold two accounts, foreign accounts. We call them foreign exchange accounts. So the first one is the foreign currency account, and the second one is the foreign exchange account. With the foreign exchange account, what it means is that any dollar you can move up within the local economy, you are allowed to go and send it and deposit it in that account without no limitation. And you are also allowed to withdraw up to 10,000 without documentation and 50,000 with subsequent documentation.
Yeah, he doesn't dispute that. His point fundamentally is if you intend to spend it in the local economy, the banks have been empowered to give you a CD equivalent and not the dollars in your account.
It's not introducing documentation into the 10,000. And I'm saying that is the problem area, because you are putting feathers on the ease of doing business.
Well, I'm grateful that you joined me with your thoughts. Dr. Tia Kabiru there is a member on the Finance Committee, is on the committee with Isaac Adongo. I want to hear from you, especially if you operate a Forex account, 05511119997. Share your thoughts on the disclosure tonight by the board member of the Central Bank. Now, the Ghana Railways Authority tonight is actively looking for a potential private sector participation in railways. So imagine that the railway lines will now be operated by a private company to boost revenue amidst the indefinite strike by workers. The workers who have been striking since May 13th, 2025, cite mismanagement and privatization as a solution to the company's challenges. The authority plans to conduct market sounding on major railway lines. Listen to Dr. Frederick Apo speaking on The Pulse.
And we are about to also conduct market sounding for private sector participation on the Tema-Mpakadan operation. That is step number one. Step number two, we are equally going to conduct market sounding for private sector participation on the continuation of the Western Railway line from Hini Valley through to Junkwao to Buankra on the right leg, and from Junkwao to Yineyini via Awaso. So touching base on all that project. But we need to be realistic.
Right.
Railway infrastructure is very expensive. It's $5 million per consecutive, $5 million per kilometer. Per kilometer. So this is not about the rolling stock. This is just about the track and the basic signaling and telecom communication.
Quite expensive than even building an asphalt, because a kilometer of asphalt is less than $5 million.
But in terms of longevity and benefit, the railway can last over 50 years.
Right.
In terms of longevity.
Well, this come on the back of workers' strike, and my colleague has been following this pretty closely. Will join us with the very latest on this. There's also a big conversation about salaries, and the CEO has been speaking about it.
GRDA, we take pride of our colleagues at GRCL very seriously. And of course, the issue of non-payment for salaries over 7 months is deeply concerning. And we acknowledge the genuine hardships this has caused GRCL staff. On the other hand, I am very much aware of the efforts being taken by the Minister for Transport, Honorable Nipe, to address this issue of non-payment of salaries. And we at the development site, we are working tirelessly to expand the railway infrastructure and unlock economic viable areas within the railway operation.
So they want railways privatized. What else are they asking for, Collins?
So they are demanding for 7 months of unpaid salaries, and also they are asking the government to sack the management, or in order to replace the management of the Ghana Railway Company. So these are some of the demands that they are making.
Thank you very much, Collins. And there has today been quite a bit on the Tema-Mpakadan railway issue also. Do we have any clarity on this particular subject too?
Yes. When we go to the Tema station, we realized that the workshop belonging to the Ghana Railway Development Authority was housing the Tema-Mpakadan railway train, the polish train. And what we got to know was that the train has actually undergone maintenance after 4 months now. And also because of lack of fuel from the Ghana Railway Company, the train is idle. So that's the situation over there.
To crying coaches tray abana the engine way ba engine to me funny pen route 200 now say I'm free anko Mpakadan full head beko ne kone ne ba na hwe sika e benya say betumi atosa full en mpo a nti o man ye hia coaches no sa ban ne kra no nis confirm investment e wo Ghana e wa sika fo be blo motime do musika akra bi di aba.
Right. So all that he was saying is that the train or the railway system now is on the verge of collapsing. So they are urging the government to privatize the sector, even if they will allow some locals to come in. That will help them. But the CEO of the Ghana Railway Authority, Dr. Frank Apple, has also been responding on the claims that they made on the fuel.
Mpakadan remains one of the key infrastructure assets of the country. The two trains are operable. They are operable. They are in good condition, ready to go. And the fact that the trains are not working has got nothing to do with fuel shortages.
That's the claim of the worker.
Yes. Has got nothing to do with fuel shortages. On the 15th of March, we embarked on the track inspection of Tema-Mpakadan. We encountered a lot of issues, encroachment issues, buffer stop was almost not there, taken off by scrap dealers. Most of the nut and screw slots have been illegally taken from the line. We are in the process of rectifying all these issues. And at the moment, I can confidently say that 75% of the ongoing defect mitigation action plans is almost done. We are almost complete in terms of the mitigation plan.
Well, let's bring in quickly Austin Game is a labor consultant, joins us on the line. And Austin, I'm grateful that you could join us on this. And briefly, the workers are asking for a few things. They want privatization. They've been on a sit-down strike for a while. What they are asking for takes time. Fair that they have taken this stance when the issues are currently being discussed, yet to have any clarity on how the management will proceed on resolving them.
I appreciate the call, and I empathize with my friends who are the workers there. But the approach is a bit problematic. I don't know who the General Secretary of the union is today, but let me assume that they are listening to him. When you are calling for people who they've got money and they should come and invest in this heavily capital-intensive project, and you are on strike, obviously nobody will be willing to come because they assume that is the character, is the organizational culture of the working people. So I am pleading with them ad initio that if they want people to invest in this particular project, then they will have to learn how to engage in a labor management cooperation kind of approach. In industrial relations in this 21st century, people are not supposed to be embarking upon strike in demand for their rights. I sincerely empathize with them.
But this has been
but that will become
this has been
concern.
Mr. Gama, this has been the labor practice of all the labor unions over the years. I mean, if you have an issue and you have a grievance, they always resort to strikes, and they're always effective.
Well, we are in a different dispensation now, and it has been like that. I appreciate the issue you are raising.
I mean, when you said different dispensation, what has changed?
Look, a lot has changed. We have a Labour Act and we have a National Labour Commission, an independent body, not like any other commissions. And the people who are sitting at the commission there are elected by unions, are elected by employers, and elected by government as a tripartite body. The chairman is a product of both labor unions and the employer, not government.
Except that all the agencies you mentioned have always existed, and yet workers have always gone on strike.
I appreciate that, and I'm trying to say that it's a complete misnomer in this country. It's something that we have been doing, and it has created problems for us up to date. Now we have virtually a 5 months old government. If I were to be them, we'll go with this noble idea that can you engage in a PPP or sort to enable us to become productive people, and the business would be there for us, for our job security. 7 months you have not been paid. You have a government that is barely 5 months old. There's no excuse for it though. So I think that is in their destiny is in their own hands. The railway system can become viable if it is properly planned and managed strategically.
Thank you very much. Austin Game is the labor consultant speaking to us about the railway sector and the workers' decision to embark on an indefinite strike. George Affe is joining me right now with business. And we've just been hearing a lot about the foreign currency rules and the announcement by the board member of the BOG of the notice that has now been given to the banks to implement. George Affe is joining me right now with business. Hello, George.
Hi, Evans. And when that thing came out, we've been also trying to get from the Bank of Ghana in terms of basically whether indeed they are going ahead to enforce that. But what we are picking up is that that is not the situation on the ground in terms of Bank of Ghana is not going ahead to enforce those directives in terms of limits on your withdrawals and all those things.
What else do you have in the headlines?
Well, Evans, coming up in business, prices of petroleum products expected to continue declining at the pumps as long as cities' good run doesn't end anytime soon. And the Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Johnson is here reaffirms commitment to seamless cross-border financial transactions. The Business News on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business.
George, we're getting a lot of reaction on the back of the Isaac Adongo's disclosure about the BOG's decision to send notices to the banks and not to issue you with dollar notes, or if you like any other foreign currency from your own bank account, but issue you with the CD equivalent. So you can no longer withdraw from your own dollar account over the counter unless they give you the CD equivalent. You've been working your sources at the BOG, speaking to the management there. What are they been saying? Have you been giving a clarity on this?
Well, what we have picked up from the regulators is that as far as they are concerned and as we speak right now, they are not enforcing any of such directives as we speak right now. Even don't forget that there are several regulations when it comes to the FX space. There are some that Bank of Ghana is actively enforcing, and there are some that Bank of Ghana is also watching developments on the market before they react. And as far as when it comes to restricting dollar withdrawals over the counter, putting limits and all the rest, as far as we are concerned now, BOG is not enforcing any directive to that effect.
Yeah, well, he's a member of the board, as you know.
Maybe these discussions came up at the board level, but
so we'll see. I mean,
the enforcement of it.
The governor himself is the
board chairman.
So he would know. We'll get some further clarity on this, but so far the board member is very clear. His point is Crystal, no matter the questions I threw at him on the subject, knowing what we've tried before in 2013 and failed, he says, well, that's one first time the regime has changed and they
because for such directives, the notice will go out to all the commercial banks about it.
He says they have.
Well, we've also tried to check with some of the commercial banks. Some of them are not aware of this. Some.
Okay.
Well, Evans, to the business news, and prices of petroleum products to continue to drop at the pumps as long as the cedi stabilizes against the dollar, and crude oil also continues to decline on the international market. Now, that's the assurance coming from the chief executive of the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies, Dr. Rivison. Upon the assurances coming up, the association boards revealed that prices should be going down at the pumps from this Friday.
Indeed, we expect this to continue as far as these two components play their roles, plummeting down or taking a nosedive. And I believe that ordinary Ghanaians or you and I will need to benefit from it in all angles. Whether or not the cedi appreciation impact positively on operations of my members, one thing I always like to say is that we operate in a scenario whereby we pass through cost. We pass the cost through to off-takers or the consumers.
Dr. Rivers Nopon is the chief executive of the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies. Now, the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers is insisting that they are not expecting anything less than 3% per litre when it comes to the reduction of fuel prices from this Friday. The Chamber has also noted that it will be the right thing for all the major oil marketing firms to follow through these reductions. Now, we understand that from this Friday, prices of petroleum products should be going down at the various pumps in the country. Let's hear from Duncan Amwa. He is the Executive Secretary of the Chamber.
It will be our expectation that indeed the BDCs, who are the major suppliers of products to the market, would indeed go down so that the OMCs can have the luxury of passing on these reductions to you and I at the various pumps. Because, like I've always indicated, this is one of the windows that has seen the biggest fall as far as the dollar value is concerned. If you recall, we were just trading a while ago around 14.5, 15. Within the past 14 or 2 week period, the dollar has declined now to around the 12 Ghana region. And so, like I have always indicated, even if you did the unspoken 1 litre to $1 rule, and today you have $1 a bank and sometimes the open market doing about 12, at most 13. The decision is that most OMCs would have probably declined to around the 12 region, commensurate to where the dollar stands today.
Duncan Amwa is the Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers. Now, Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Johnson Isiama has reaffirmed the central bank's commitment to ensuring seamless cross-border transactions across Africa. Now, speaking at the 2025 3I Policy Forum, Dr. Isiama emphasized greater regional digital integration as key to boosting trade and unlocking the continent's economic potential.
Here at the Bank of Ghana, we remain firmly committed to this agenda. Our work, for example, with the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System, or the PAPS, and more recently, our bilateral fintech passporting collaboration with the National Bank of Rwanda. This reflects our conviction that regional integration is achievable, and it's achievable through trust-based partnerships.
Dr. Johnson Isiama is the governor of the Bank of Ghana. The Association of Ghana Industries has commended government for its initiative in engaging the business community to reduce prices of goods in the market as a result of the appreciation of the local currency. Now, speaking to journalist President of the Association of Ghana Industries, Humphrey Yimdake, assured of the commitment from industry players and called on government to let the reduction reflect its mid-year budget review.
We commend government and also say to government that we are committed to the cause of reflecting these gains in our pricing in our various business activities. As stated by my colleague, it's as a result of the forces of demand and supply that determines price on the market. We believe sincerely that within the period of 60 days from now, this impact will be translated onto the final price of our products that we wholesale and retail. We also strongly believe that in the midterm budget review, we will see further reflection and commitment from government regarding these gains.
President of the Association of Ghana Industries, Dr. Humphrey Ayim Daken, on a heartwarming effort to foster love for reading among young folks. Now, accounting firm KPMG Ghana has embarked on what they call a literary initiative at the Kotobabi class top schools, engaging people in interview reading sessions and also donating books to support basic education. Partner Accounting Advisory Services at KPMG, Rodolphe Arno, has been explaining to Joy Business why they are embarking on this initiative.
From KPMG, one thing we say is that we want to inspire confidence and empower change. And by coming here to present or donate books to the school here, we want to empower the young learners to read, and by so doing, we know that they'll become better leaders tomorrow. It is said that readers today are leaders tomorrow. So that is what we want to do, just to inspire our young learners to continue reading, and we know by so doing, they will be empowered to transform their future.
And that is Randolph Arno. He is an accounting advisory partner at KPMG. And there's a statement coming in from the Ghana Revenue Authority with respect to clarifications on the Strategic Mobilization Ghana SML claims of regarding expanded mandate. The Ghana Revenue Authority has noted with concern of reports published on the 14th of May online news portals and the print media, including the Business and Financial Times, that it has unveiled the expansion of its revenue assurance oversight to cover the Ghana upstream petroleum and also the solid mineral sector. But GRA wishes to clarify that the authority's suspension of SML services in the upstream petroleum and mineral sectors pending further review in April 2024 still remains in force. And that's all for business on Newsnight.
Joe, thank you very much. Mustawa is here with sports.
Yes, Evans. Well, after the Ghana Under-20 team disappointing exit from the ongoing Under-20 AFCON, they will now turn attention to the WAFU A and B Under-20 Cup that is set to take place here in Accra come June, and it's going to run from June 1st to June 20th, and some 16 countries are expected to take part in this cup, which will be the maiden edition of the tournament. My colleague Joseph Ayinga Water has more.
The tournament follows the successful organization of the CAF African Schools Football Championship in April and will see 16 African nations competing for the regional glory. Participating countries include Cape Verde, the Gambia, Guinea-Bissau, Mali, Guinea, Liberia, Mauritania, Senegal, Sierra Leone, Benin, Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, Niger, Nigeria, Togo, and host nation Ghana. This marks the first time both WAFU zones will combine for the U20 tournament, replacing the previously separate qualifiers for the CAF Under-20 African Cup of Nations. Group stage matches will be held at the Ghana Soccer Center of Excellence in Pram Pram, with the final set for the University of Ghana Stadium in Accra. The tournament is aimed at strengthening youth football development and providing more competitive opportunities across the region.
That's Joseph Ayinga Water there, and a quick one from the camp of Manchester United, and their manager Ruben Amorim is saying he has no intention of walking out on the club. And remember, in the aftermath of the Sunday's Premier League defeat by West Ham, Amorim had said that if he could not sort out the club's problems out heading into next season, then United should find someone who could. However, he has clarified that that comment were taken out of context, and that he meant that he will do all he can to fix the club's problem, and in fact he is far from quitting. He made those comments ahead of the Europa League final come the 21st of May against Tottenham Hotspur, which many are expecting him to win, else the pressure will mount on him.
Well, thank you very much. So live here on Newsnight on Joy 99.7 FM. Now, government is set to roll out a new performance target for the Kolebu Teaching Hospital in a bid to improve service delivery. That's according to the Health Minister, Kwabena Mpakadan. He has been touring the facility today, and 8 months ago, when he was a ranking member on Parliament's Health Committee, Mr. Kando had a brush with staff there at the time. They prevented him from inspecting the broken elevator to the surgical ward. Well, today, he has been giving an update on work done so far to fix the elevator, this time as the health minister.
I've received a lot of complaints from the public, so I decided to come and see for myself and then have some meetings with the management, and we all think through how we can solve the problem. That's the most important thing. The solution is the most important thing. I'm happy to also add that some of these issues have already been identified and steps have been taken already. For example, if you could recall my visit here to inspect some of the lifts when I was a ranking member, immediately I became the minister. The then acting CEO rushed to me. He said, Mr. Minister, I don't want you to come to Kolebu without fixing this thing. So I gave approval for the fixed, the lift to be fixed. And I've asked about the update. I'm told it's in the process. And very soon that will be fixed. So among other things, probably that may not be for the consumption of the public. But what's important is that to have the first-hand information, and then together we all think through it. We are going to develop new KPIs, new policy directions, and without sounding repetitive, they are aware of some of them.
Well, he also disclosed that all hospitals will now have dedicated accounts into which they will deposit proceeds from the use of the equipment they run.
Now, it's government's position that any medical equipment you use at the health facility, you have an exclusive account where you put the proceeds in that account. When the machine is obsolete or where you need to fix it, you go into the account and take money to fix it. I am not oblivious of the fact that public health facilities don't charge as much as private facilities. But I always tell them that the bird that lays the golden egg must not be killed. So where we can generate enough money, we must always keep those places running, no matter what, non-negotiable. If you look at the structures, what it tells you is that we have a very, very poor maintenance culture. Some of these things have been abandoned for a very long time. We are all going to go back to see how we can do it. And I am happy with the responses I'm getting from some of the members of the management. They are all with me. I mean, largely they agree with me with all the policies I'm trying to roll out and all that. So, rest assured, we'll look for wherever the solution is. And everybody here is going to be part of the solution to reform or restore the glory of Kolebu Teaching Hospital.
Minta Kando is health minister. Let's do some climate migration now. Shifting weather patterns and logging, jeopardizing the survival of share trees and the livelihood of people who depend on it. Now, JoyNews' Mahmoud Muhammad Nuruddin reports on how women who previously relied on share nuts for a living have no choice but to travel to cities in search of non-existent jobs.
For 7 years, Nafisa Wahab and Nuria Zubaida worked in Ghana's capital city, Accra, as head porters carrying luggage to fend for themselves. But they returned home when they realized that the capital city is not a suitable venue to survive as young women.
I was carrying luggage to make some income, then used the small income generated to buy things and returned home. I was handpicking share nuts. It was not fruiting anymore, so I had to leave for Accra.
Both in their mid-20s, they now live in their hometown called Sumpini and Kojope in the Savannah region, where everyone relied on share fruits for survival. Like Nafisa and Nuria, almost everyone in the villages harvested ripe fruits for sale to earn an income.
I was collecting the share nuts and making some money. When share nuts were in abundance, We could pick them for 1 week and process them to make 1,000 Ghana cedis or 600 Ghana cedis.
They are just two of hundreds of young women who migrate to the cities every year, hoping to make a better living. For women in northern Ghana who hunt, produce, share butter in their homes, it is a source of food, medication, cosmetics for skin and hair. But the women do not know why the trees are not bearing much fruits anymore.
The share tree no longer bears fruit as it once did. This forces us to concentrate on charcoal production.
The share tree grows mostly in the wild, and residents say no one owns it because it germinates, grows on its own, and has no natural enemies. The alarming number of dying share trees requires immediate attention. A report by Mohammed Nuruddin.
Climate Focus is brought to you by JoyNews in partnership with Youth Bridge Foundation, bridging gaps for positive youth development, and the Climate Development Knowledge Network.
And you're still live, your news tonight. Just before we go, a couple of your messages. This one has no name but says, I disagree with Adongo, a foreign exchange counter fed with foreign currency acquired locally, and one can withdraw his foreign currency subject to any limitations. Musa Bato says Aruna Mohammed and MPP are just making vuvuzela noises to score cheap political points, but it's not working in their favor. The point is that the petitioner has withdrawn his petition because it's watertight and has no merit, but the MPP are still on a wide goose chase. And tomorrow there is a big conversation happening on the JoyNews channel. It's also going to be live across our many social media platforms, and you don't want to miss out on that. Climate talks beginning tomorrow. Nationally determined contributions, clean cooking. You don't want to miss that. It's a fascinating take on that, and our guests will be weighing in on that subject tomorrow. Dr. Richard Bright Donyo will join that conversation. He is the Chair Pediatrician Association. Sarah Na Dede Agbe will also join that conversation, Chairperson of the Ghana Alliance for Clean Cooking. Daryl Bosu is the Deputy National Director of Operations. Kwabena Owusu Safo is a Portfolio Manager at Green Ventures will also join, and Love and Owusu Techi, a director at ICs, will also join. This is a big conversation on clean cooking. Climate talks beginning tomorrow. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be on the JoyNews channel on Asempa 94.7 FM, and we are delighted to be partnering with the Embassy of the Republic of Germany here in Accra for this, and we also have several other partners who are making this possible. Climate Talks Ghana in partnership with the German Embassy. You don't want to miss it. Live here on the JoyNews channel, but also on Asempa, and it is at the Freeman Methodist Church, Jamestown. Make your way there tomorrow, starting at 10 a.m. The Freeman Methodist Church, Jamestown, 10 a.m. I want to introduce you to a woman who loves cooking, from what I understand, and loves clean cooking. You don't?
I do,
Exactly.
Evans. I do. I love cooking for my family, so yes.
Oh, you have Strong and Sassy. Look who you have there.
Yes,
Look
right. I mean, tonight is like,
Dr. Evelyn Owusu Robert. This is lit.
It's littered, isn't it?
Nah.
Yeah. So anyway, welcome back to us, Strong and Sassy. You know, the football kind of took over for the past 2 weeks, but tonight we're back, and we're talking about toxic workplaces. So your workplace is supposed to be a place of maybe fun, you know, a place of purpose, a place where you can express your talents, express your productivity. But sometimes we find that the environment in the workplace causes problems on your personal relationships, on your mental health. It's just difficult depending on who your bosses are, who your colleagues are, your interpersonal relationships. So tonight we're having a conversation on working in a toxic place, dealing with working in a toxic place with toxic colleagues, and how to avoid being toxic yourself. So yeah, that's tonight's conversation. Thank you, Evans, for that wonderful hour of news, and welcome to Bliss. Strong and Sassy coming up.